لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين وبعد. Assalamu alaikum. We all begin by thanking Allah, thanking God for His blessings upon us, for the blessings of health, of happiness, of the ability to see and to hear, and the ability to interact with each other in real life and on Facebook. We also send our peace and blessings upon the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who went through so much for us. He went through so much. SubhanAllah, if you read the stories of how he went through, the struggles he went through, the amount of blood, the amount of tears that he shed because he was concerned about us. He never even met us, but he was concerned about us. And so we ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send His peace and blessings upon this man who cared about us so much, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we ask that we can, inshallah, join him in Jannah. Ameen, Ya Rabbil Alameen, in the next life. Ameen. My talk is going to be very short, again, because we want to get to the Q&A. We want you guys to be able to ask your questions and to be able to pick the brains of the two shuyukh over here and myself. But really, I have just one major concept, one principle, and then 3 points to make underneath that, right? So one concept, how many points? No, 4. I'm kidding. No, 3. Okay. So 3, inshallah. One principle. This principle that we talked about during the last event, during Love Struck, we talked about everything that enters your eyes and your ears affects your heart, right? Your heart. Notice something, by the way. Is your heart something that is attached to your hand? Is it something that you wear on your arm, or it's on top of your head, or it's on your back? Where is it? Is it sheltered? Is it protected? Or is it open? It's protected, right? The rib cage is protecting it. It's even deep inside the cavity. It's not like sticking out. It's not like bulging out. It's protected by bones, by muscle, by fat, by everything, right? Some a little more fat than others, like myself, but by everything, right? Inshallah, I'm hitting the gym. Don't worry about it. And so this shows us when something is protected, when something is, someone has gone to great lengths to make sure that something is not easily exposed. What does that say about that object? It's important, it's sensitive, it picks things up. So when something is very easily obtainable, it's not valuable, right? It's cheap, right? You can go to the dollar store and buy anything you want. It's not that expensive. But when there is something that's really expensive, right? A 24 karat, diamond ring. Does Rogers and Holland's Jewelers, do they put it out there in the middle of the mall in the hallway and say, okay, it's on the floor, whoever wants to go ahead and buy it? No, they put it in the safe. They keep it locked up. If you want to look at it, you're going to have to wear gloves. The person's going to have to clean it up every time. So our hearts are protected physically. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala within our own selves gave us a sign that our hearts are not sticking out of our bodies. Rather, it's deep inside of us, protected by bones, by muscle, by fat, so that it's not easily exposed. And in this physical sign is a spiritual sign, that our hearts as well can pick up other things, other evils, other trips of shaitan that we don't want. So when we think about wherever we're interacting, as Wissam was saying, whatever we're doing, whatever we're not doing, think about how these things affect your heart. Because as he said, we can stand up here and tell everyone, haram, halal, haram, whatever. We can shout out all these words that we don't want to use. But in reality, ask yourself the question, how is this affecting my heart? Because on that day, what's in your heart that day where no one can see because it's so protected, on that day, that heart will open up and all of your deepest secrets will come out. And so right now, we can live our life with our hearts nice and solid and secret and confined in that safe of our chest. But on that day, the heart is going to be open. And it's going to be you and Allah. It's going to be me and Allah. And Allah is going to say, this was in your heart, tell me why. This was in your heart, tell me why. Some will be good and some will be bad. And we ask Allah to make our good more than our bad. Ameen. So everything that we interact with, people, Facebook, food, whatever it is, it affects our body and it affects our spirit. And the proof of this is I want to ask each of you a question. Can you imagine the internet before Facebook? Can you? Sorry, you guys are too old. Can anyone under the age of 40, sorry guys, I'm joking. They're not 40 years old. Can anyone imagine what the internet was like before Facebook? Can anyone forget the Facebook logo? Can you forget what it's like to browse Facebook? It's embedded in our mind. It's in our personality now. Some people, they tell me that they open up their browser and the first link they click on their favorites bar is Facebook and they say, I don't even know why, I just click it. Like, I'm going online to check my email, and then when I open the browser, I click Facebook first, and I have no clue why I click it first. Right? Some of us may even feel that. On my iPhone, there have been many times where I'm opening my phone to call someone, and I'm like, all right, Facebook. Why? Posting a status, trying to call someone, right? And then I go try to call someone. Like, why don't I just call someone? Because we've become so used to it. We've become so addicted to it, actually. There are rehab facilities nowadays in America that deal with Facebook addiction. People who cannot get off of Facebook, they have to have professional help because it has become an addiction in their brain. So this is a very serious issue, and this is proof that these things affect us in our heart. With this principle, I want to discuss three things, three major points. I sat down with a few brothers over the past month or so when we've been planning this event. I've been talking to a few people and asking them, tell me about Facebook. Tell me about your experiences on Facebook. I have one. Probably many of you are friends with me on Facebook, but I wanted to ask other people, tell me about your experiences with Facebook. What do you think? And three major things came up. Number one is fakeness. Fakeness. Being a poser, right? Not being real. As they say, like, you're not real online, you're fake. And so I would ask people, what does it mean to be fake? What does it mean when you tell me that people are fake online? And a few things came up. As I'm reading these things, see if any of these ring a bell. Number one, people aren't who they are in real life. They'll say things online that they would never ever dare to say in real life. Number two, people post pictures online that they would never ever post or never ever show in real life, especially to their parents, one guy said. Number three, people are trying to create an image of themselves. People try to make themselves on this Facebook page that they're not who they are in real life. So for example, if they have that one favorite hat that they only wear once or that one outfit, they try to put pictures after picture after picture, even though we can see the cameras right there, you're taking it in the bathroom mirror, right? Right? Everyone's like, oh, how'd this picture get taken? Well, because the flash is right in front of you, dude. It's like the mirror's right there. And your bathroom is really dirty, you gotta clean it up. Right? You might want to change that towel on the rack, it's got stains on it. Okay? So people are saying that with these pictures and posting photos, people try to create this personality of who they are. Right? Like some kid who's 14 who goes to a high school tries to tell everyone that he's Jay-Z because he's wearing the same clothes that Jay-Z wore that night at the concert. Right? But in reality, like your parents bought it for you because it was on sale at Kohl's. Right? Now, this issue, and these, by the way, these are straight from the kids' mouths, right? I had these ideas, but they told me. This issue of being fake is not only spiritually degrading, right? Your relationship with Allah is going to suffer because you start to lie to yourself, and then you start to believe these lies about who you are. Now, am I against putting up pictures or statuses on Facebook? No, but I think that we need to watch out for them. But even more concerning, even more troublesome than the spiritual degradation is the psychological degradation. You begin to become someone with low confidence, low self-esteem. You don't appreciate who you are. You're not proud of who you are. The Prophet ﷺ was very, very, not arrogant, but proud of himself as Muslims. You know, one time they were praying, the Muslims were praying in Dar al-Arqam, which is like the place where the Muslims used to pray before they let everyone know that Islam was public. And this was right after Umar Khattab, he converted. Right afterwards, right? So they used to pray there. So Umar Khattab, he goes to the Prophet ﷺ and he says, Ya Rasulullah, aren't we on the truth? Isn't Islam correct? And the Prophet says, yeah, it is, obviously. He goes, so why are we still praying in this house? Why can't we go out to the Kaaba and pray in front of everyone, let them know that we're Muslim? And the Prophet ﷺ said, well, you know, we watch out for these reasons. And Umar Khattab said, Ya Rasulullah, with all due respect and love, I think we should do this. And the Prophet said, okay, we'll take your advice and we'll do it. So they marched out with the Muslims in two lines, and they went and they prayed in front of the Kaaba. And this was a historic day for the Muslims. This was the day where the Quraysh realized that Umar Khattab had become Muslim, and they were like worried after that. But you see here, this example is one example, but you see the principle of being proud of who you are, not trying to hide your flaws and inconsistencies by these fake ideas and fake images, but being who you are and being proud, because Allah created you the way you are. And wallahi, everyone in this room, you are special seriously in your own way. No Barney like jokes, right? You really are. Wallahi, there are some things that I can't do that Abdullah can do. There are some things that Abdullah can't do that I can do. We each have our own talents, so don't be ashamed of not being like everyone else. Be who you are. My dad always says something funny. He goes, everyone tries to dress up differently, everyone tries to color their hair differently, everyone tries to talk differently, but they end up realizing that at the end, they all end up looking and dressing and talking the same. Even their initial goal was trying to be different. So everyone tries to be different. What ends up happening is that when everyone tries to be different, they all end up being different together. So they end up being the same. And they're like, man, right? So you see people, I'm wearing these shoes, they're called Toms, right? I bought them because they're comfortable, and because when you buy a pair, they give a pair to some an orphan child or a poor child overseas.